So the basketball hoop has a limit switch on it. The limit switch has been set by our installers so that the power will get killed to the motor in its maximum up position. If you start to notice it going much beyond where that is right there, then that limit switch right there, there's a little cover on this. There's a little cover on this limit switch box that comes off, and there's a little dial in there that has to get adjusted so that this doesn't go any higher than it currently is, because you certainly don't want it. If that limit switch failed, you could theoretically just raise this right up into the ceiling and damage not only your basketball court but your ceiling.
Yeah.
So we don't want to do that. So we'll let this come all the way down, and the unit is set to stop at its maximum lowest point, so that we don't want cable on this drum right here. You can see the cable is spooling on this drum right here. When this basketball hoop gets all the way down, we want this front cable here, we want this cable right here in the front to be taut. So it shouldn't be much beyond that. If you start to see cable unspooling and this cable up front here, lowering down much beyond where it's at, that means that bottom one is failed, and that we have to come in and adjust it, because what we don't want to have is this cable getting outside of this little brake arm here. If this cable were to get outside of that brake arm and you turn that key on, it would hyperextend that front brace right there, and it would damage the front brace. And we'd have to come in, and just FYI, maintenance in here for our company would be very expensive to have to get up there, because a scissor lift would have to get brought in for repairs for probably 90% of anything that has to be done in here. And that would get very expensive to have a scissor lift at this stage of the game brought up to the second floor.
So what would make something like that happen? Like, is it the wear and tear, or
Really more vandalism, more like somebody with a ball throwing a ball at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Otherwise, just normal basketball play or normal, gymnasium play in here. No.
Okay.
No, and then beyond that, there's no maintenance. So if, for instance, like the basketball hoop didn't operate for some reason when you came in, the first thing you want to have your maintenance staff check is the breakers in the electrical room. So a breaker would be the first thing to check. But then also right here you have a plug. It's a twist lock plug, so the plug plugs in and then twists about a quarter of a turn, and that locks it into place. But if that plug were to get damaged or removed or pulled out, if you looked up there and saw that out, that would be something that you would need to get either put back in or repaired by and at that point it's a routine electrician's issue.
Hello, how are we doing?
Hey.
Hi, Greg.
So I was just briefly going over the basketball equipment. Yep. Just really quick, there's the key switches here for this unit operates this. This unit operates the curtain. All of the equipment has a limit switch on it, so that if you're holding the key down, it'll raise it to its maximum point, and then power will get shut off. And the same thing on the down side. So if I'm lowering this unit here, there's a limit switch that'll engage. Like you'll see, the power will get killed, but I'll still have this engaged.
There we go.
There you go. Done. So it can't go anymore. But if it did, if that cable were to get more slack in it than there is right now, that means that the limit switch has been damaged, which is right in this panel right up here. You just remove a panel. There's a little micro switch in there that just slides along a dial, and you just have to replace it. More in times than not, the limit switch wouldn't get damaged, it would just get out of position. And it doesn't take much for that limit switch. Like if it moves an eighth of an inch, that might be a foot of spool on that drum. So all the cable spools up on this drum right here, up and down. And there should be about, as you can see right here, there's about 2 wraps of cable on that drum. Yep. If the cable were to get much slack in it, there's an issue with the limit switch. All of the units that we install that go up and down are installed with a safety strap. That's this unit right here, a safety strap. Again, no maintenance involved, but the only thing that you would ever see is if a cable failed or if a gear failed in the gearbox here, on the motor, this safety strap would engage, and then right here, you can see right here, there's this little vinyl. On the inside of that vinyl piece right there is an orange flag. If that safety strap were to engage, that orange flag would pop out, and you'd see, so you would know that there was something wrong. You'd have to call us. As I explained to these ladies, we want to try and avoid that kind of maintenance in this building, especially because getting a scissor lift in here to get in here to repair, or building scaffolding in here to get up there is going to be labor intensive and expensive. So just, be mindful. The cable is kind of like the one thing right here that you just want to pay attention to and make sure that it doesn't ever get really outside of that bar. Yeah, because if it does, that bar will hyperextend. And there's a safety strap on this hinge right here. So if that cable were to get outside of that and you turn the key on, it would likely hyperextend that brace the other way and break that hinge. The good thing is that there's a safety strap on that prevents that pipe from falling down and hurting somebody. So there's some safety features in there. On the side ports, this is probably the most important thing that I tell you today. Well, actually, there's two things, and I'll go over it on this. These are height adjusters, so you can lower them down to 8 foot for kids. And you just simply hand crank it. They're pretty easy.
myself, right?
Yep.
There's nothing to make it.
Yep. And for an elementary, you're just going to lower it down to probably whatever height, kids. But at its, when you get all the way to the top, that's 10 foot. So that's going to be your plane height. So when this stops right there, now you're at 10 foot. And that's on all of these. The most important thing though is that if you're lowering these down, this is probably the most important thing I'm going to tell you today. In that, if you lower these down to 8 foot, they must be raised back up to 10 foot, then to raise them up into the ceiling. That is going to be a for sure maintenance issue, and that will be a couple $1,000 repair because these height adjusters, there's no real fix to them. When you lower these down, all of the weight, that glass backboard and that rim weighs 250 pounds. So if this is all the way down and then you raise it up, you've got 250 pounds cantilevered out there, and the only thing that's supporting that is that height adjuster. And if that height adjuster gets bent, you won't be able to raise and lower it.
So if I lower it down for a day, I have to put it back out. Correct. I should never let it.
You can leave it
Can I
down.
leave it down?
You can leave it all the way down to 8 foot as long as you want. But if you're going to raise this unit up into the ceiling,
10 foot back
it
and
has
then
to go
raise
10
it up.
foot and
Then
raise
you
it.
raise it.
Yep.
Okay. That
Yep.
makes sense.
You do not want that backboard cantilevered out there with all that weight. So that's kind of the one mistake that I see people make that ends up being a hefty repair and a maintenance charge. So that's basically it. There's 3 of these. There's the one here, and then there's 2 over there by the drinking fountain that are your guys'.
Okay. Got you. Okay.
And then the only other item is the gym curtain. There's literally no maintenance to this curtain. There's one motor. The motor on this curtain is located at this end of the curtain, and that's kind of similar to the basketball hoop. If for some reason you come in and the curtain isn't working, your first thing would be to check the circuit breaker and make sure that there's power. And then the next thing is this curtain also has a plug here, and the motor is inside of the drive tube right there. Just one motor. Yep, this curtain is small enough just to be one motor. It's inside of that tube. So literally there shouldn't be anything that can fail other than, a ball hitting this. So that plug has a twist lock. So when it plugs in, it gets a quarter turn and then it's locked into place. If you see that cord hanging there,
Then, yeah.
Yeah,
So the
we
motor in
got a
there, no maintenance, no grease, nothing.
No,
Okay, good.
no.
Good. Okay.
And people always ask me, like, people always ask me, well, how long is it going to last? Well, it's just going to depend on how well it's kind of maintained over the years,
okay.
as far as, you know,
Using it.
yeah, and how often are you going to raise and lower it? Like some buildings might raise these units 3 and 4 times a day. Some schools may only raise them 2 or 3 times a year.
Correct. It depends on the
So,
who's playing.
yeah,
Kids or,
yep. Same thing with your curtain. Like if you're raising it daily, that motor might wear out within 10 to 15 years. If you raise it, you know, 10 or 15 times a year, you might get 20 or 30 years out. The thing that I see happen more than that wears out, like in a gymnasium like this, is the curtain. We installed a curtain at Dexter Wellness Center over by Ann Arbor in 2011, and the gentleman just called me 2 days ago and wants to replace the curtain fabric. Yeah. So the curtain fabric, but that's a building that gets heavy use.
Heavy use. Okay.
You know, got.
These are smaller kids.
Yeah.
So, you have a card?
I do.
Information.
And I think
No
that.
maintenance. No maintenance. Make sure when I'm lifted up 10 feet,
Yep.
then rise up.
Here's it. The height adjusters all have that white lithium grease on it.
Yeah, what is that for?
It's just
Something I can do or no?
No, you shouldn't have to do anything.
Okay.
The only time that I've ever really seen issues were like in a really, really hot building. If it gets really hot in here, that grease can, you know, kind of liquefy. I've seen it drip.
Well,
But that's like, you know, it's 100 degrees outside and it's 120 inside the gym.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that there's climate control. I mean, you got air, AC, and
Yep.
yeah, so you shouldn't have that
You
issue.
shouldn't be that high.
Yeah. The only other thing is like a gym that's really dusty. So like sometimes I've seen where the unit's up in the air and they've got a vent right next to it that's blowing dirty air,
Okay.
and then the dirt mounts up onto here. You know, that would cause a little bit of an issue in operating it. But other than that, I mean, I don't see, you don't have a vent right
What
next
kind
to
of
it.
grease is that? Is that like your
Just
regular-
white lithium. You can get
Home
it
Depot?
at Home Depot. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
you just stand there. There's no up and down, obviously. There's not.
No, you can raise and lower those.
What is that?
You can raise and lower the height from 8 to 10 feet.
They don't go over. Okay. So they can use the pole and raise them up, down.
Correct.
Okay. So we got
Like lower it down and then run, you run gym class, you know, boys on this side, girls on that side or whatever, and maybe you run a cross court volley or basketball game or something.
Okay.
Yeah, so you
can
get
run
2 courts.
Simultaneous.
Get
Lower
ready.
the curve down.
Work.
When this curtain gets down, there's like a foot of vinyl at the very top.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'll hear it jump a little bit as the vinyl transitions from the mesh back to vinyl. There's nothing wrong with the curtain. It's just transitioning off of that roller. There's a
To the middle.
yeah, so it's going from you'll hear it transition from the mesh to the vinyl. But I do get some afterwards. Oh, there's something wrong with the curtain. But there's nothing wrong with it. You'll hear it in just a second here. You'll hear it as it comes off of the.
Yeah. I can see what people
Yeah.
get concerned with that.
So, does this ever get messed up or out of line being raised and lowered so much?
Again, if people are using it, yeah, we've seen it. And you'll see it like mostly where you'll see it is at the ends of the curtain. If somebody's like, if I'm raising it and there's kids, you know, pulling on it, you can start to see the curtain fold over on itself. So if I hold this like this, and then somebody was raising it, it can fold over on the drum up there, and then then they're
You have a crease in there now.
right. But if somebody's operating it like I'm at, up and down, but nobody, no, there should be no issues with it.
Any questions? No?
Simply enough. No maintenance. I heard no maintenance. I'm good.